This is Nolan with PostProduction.com, and I definitely have the honor here to meet with Tom Coughlin, and he's done so much for the world of storage and all of that, and is just really excited to be able to just take a couple minutes of his time here and get his thoughts on storage on the show, or maybe some other things like just feedback, thoughts of like, wow, unbelievable stuff that you saw.
Yep.
But Tom, what have you been seeing? Or start with what you want to start with, and go from there, I guess.
Well, thank you very much, Nolan. It's great to talk to you and everybody else is listening here. I just love these shows. There's so much interesting stuff. I mean, there's so many ways that storage is used in media and entertainment, all the way from, capturing content to, producing it, doing special effects, doing all that sort of stuff, to delivering it out to people that need it on every possible device you can think of.
Yeah.
To trying to keep the stuff for the long term. So every type of activity that man knows how to do, they sort of do it in one piece or another, this whole industry, and therefore every type of storage approach has some use in this industry. So it's just fascinating to see it. In fact, there's, I think it's something like 66 companies here that are into storage showing at the NAB.
Wow.
I saw a list someone put together for that.
Well, and it's the way I see it is like you got the North Hall, the Central Hall, and then the South Hall, and I'm not sure, I haven't really looked at it, but it's kind of like the production works its way to the post-production, and then you've got all of that ends up in storage in one form or another.
Yeah, the South Hall lower, and some of the uppers. I kind of think of sort of the storage ghetto in a way, because it's all like concentrated here. And
it really is.
Yeah, it's just fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
And some of the big trends. There's a lot of stuff with taking clouds, including cloud storage, and using them in workflows or archiving or various things people can do. And then all the means that would allow you to make that possible, like how do you move stuff in and out of the network?
Right.
And what do you have locally? What do you have remotely? What do you do with replication, synchronization? There's all kinds of things. How do you manage content, when it's in the cloud?
Right.
Versus and/or with what you've got locally.
Right.
There's amazing things there. There's new technologies on capturing stuff with cameras. New cameras that need faster storage devices.
Yep.
Like there's that Airy, this guy. Amira, it's a 200 frames per second camera with a CFast 2, SanDisk CFast 2 compact flash that they use, for instance. So it's 4K,
Yeah.
And there's even cameras that run up to 5K.
Really?
5,000 frames per second.
Wow.
I was looking at the Phantom stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So you can imagine, it's all this with higher resolution, higher number of bits per pixel, and higher frame rates. All this stuff just results in a lot more data.
Sure.
And so capturing this stuff, and then dealing with it in the post-production world, and then with not being able to spend much more money, how do you leverage the capability of dealing with more intense data?
Sure.
It's a big challenge. So there's all kinds of things that are going on in the storage world and in the asset management and moving things around through the internet and through your local networks that's going on, that's on display here.
Sure.
And then finally, what are you going to keep this on, both short term and in the long term?
Right.
And how do you protect digital content, which in a sense, although it's easier to capture than ever before, and that's why people will capture more stuff for a final product than ever before, but it also makes it in a sense more ephemeral, because there's no physical entity that you're saving. There's all just digital information. So how do you future-proof that? How do you get that to go and so that people can get it later on?
Right.
Interesting challenges. Awful lot of stuff on the show floor that I think addresses some of these major themes.
Oh, sure. Is there anything, not maybe any one thing in particular, but maybe a philosophy or something that's jumped out at you as like, wow, that's pretty unbelievable out on the floor?
Yeah, there's what I think is very interesting is, in fact, this whole enabling cloud infrastructures. Essentially, what that is, it's a combination of being able to get more efficient data centers, and enabling technology to move things up and down from those data centers, which has led to some very interesting things. For instance, Aspera was acquired by IBM not that long ago, and that's their business, is moving things around through the net. And now there must be like 5 or 6 other companies here that now all of a sudden they've got quite a valuation.
Sure.
Because of the acquisition, so they're out there and toting new technologies and ways of doing that. So the idea of trying to get some degree of greater efficiencies and consolidation and how to control costs, I think, while still handling larger amounts of richer and richer content is a real challenge. And so I think that's probably one of the big themes we've got going here.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies that are getting that one way or another. Oh, and the other thing, and it's tied to it, is if now I can create the sort of consolidation of content, can I analyze it and understand that, be able to search it, be able to do these analytics things and that sort of stuff. And then what is that good for?
Right.
You know, can I actually make some money on that? Does it allow me to do things I couldn't otherwise? Which I think it does, and so that's another one of those themes. And what a lot of people are talking about, and I think it'll be interesting to see in the next year or two just what kind of products and case studies we end up seeing on what people actually can do with that data.
Is there any prediction for the future in your mind that you see on the horizon?
Yeah, more storage.
Of course.
More storage, but more ways of doing it. And what's interesting, you get down to the basic storage technology, the things that this stuff is kept in. There are also fascinating things. You know, there's this dynamic interplay between flash, between hard drives, between the magnetic tape and the optical disc, and they're all trying. You know, everything's kind of like balls in the air.
Right.
And it's interesting to see how things are going down. You know, they all think they can grab each other's markets. They're all leveraging on stuff. And so I think it's potentially it's both confusing to the end user, but it also creates enormous potential opportunities in the long run, because with all this competition in technologies, eventually this will come down to finding the best ways of doing, you know, modern workflows or future workflows.
Sure.
You know, there's people that want tape to take over more of what the discs are doing, for instance.
Yeah.
You know, get rid of the nearline and get more of the tapes. There'll be lower cost and lower operating costs, that sort of thing. There's people that, you know, there's guys that are special, like you went just talked to, you know, are specialists in making these disk drive-based systems and making them scream.
Right.
And providing performance that's approaching that of maybe a flash system.
Right.
With some reliability things that maybe are above what many people are able to do with flash. And there's the flash guys that are coming in with the acceleration products that can, you know, just enormously change the way well, first of all, they have totally transformed content capture. Mm-hmm. Almost all, you know, it's solid state is the way you do this stuff now. You know, the initial capture. You may have then put it on another media, but it's fast to do another capture. It's convenient, it's rugged. Sure. But also into performance enhancement of almost everything else we're doing in the industry. Uh-huh. So, and anyway, so that's some of the things that. Yeah,
well, that's I'd be very, very interested to see what transpires and where that all heads. Yeah. And you're right, because it's so easy now to shoot. You're going to try to catch everything. You want to keep everything, and you want to stripe it with you know, keywords or something, so that you can pull it up to be used for something, you know, in the future.
Right.
And it all has to sit somewhere. And I guess the debate is kind of like, where is that best somewhere?
Where is it, and how do you find stuff?
Right. Yeah.
So now you're getting into the whole asset management thing. There's like humongous developments in that. You know, there's like the StorNext 5 just came out. You know, so the quantum guys, that was interesting. But there's a lot of interesting ways in which people are being able to manage, find, use assets, and protect them, but also, you know, eventually get into the analytics and the things that allow you to find out where else can this lead to. You know, for instance, if I, you know, the thing people talk about is, for instance, if I tie the thing about media and entertainment, the metadata is in your content, but it's not just that. You know, it's a dynamic marketplace, so the whole value is in showing it to somebody.
Right.
So it's what's going on Twitter, what's going on Facebook, what are people interested in, and then can you tie things together? And if you watch this show, would you like to buy something you saw on that show?
Sure.
You know, it's interesting opportunities. I think that you know, while you're having this you know, real pressure on the capital spending, you know, for the infrastructure to do stuff, there also are new money-making opportunities which could justify some of those capital expenditures if they're done right. And those are some of the big challenges and opportunities I think that are out there.
That's cool. Well, Tom, thanks really again for just taking a little bit of a little bit of time out of your busy schedule and
you're welcome
taking time to talk with us.
And by the way, for those folks that live in the Los Angeles area, I do a conference in June, which is the Creative Storage Conference, June 24th.
Right. That's right. And that's in Culver City. Is that right?
Yeah. And so that's if anyone's interested in that, it's creativestorage.org.
creativestorage.org. We'll put that on the site as well, so to make it easy to find.
Great. Well, thanks, Noel. Glad.
And I was there last year, and that was quite a lineup that you had there, and that was really, really cool.
We're gonna have an even better one this year.
Really awesome. Yeah. Well, Tom, I look forward to seeing you at that event,
thanks,
and maybe I'll bump into you on the floor again.
Likewise. Thanks for the opportunity and time to take it.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it.
See you.
Yep.